I had a feeling that this episode was really going to hit home for me, especially considering that, as many of you may know, my ex Felicia actually left me for a clown at a performing traveling circus. And honestly, I didn't know what she saw in him. I mean, he knew how to juggle and do that motorcycle trick inside the cage. He could tame tigers, whatever. I don't know how taming tigers can pay the bills, but apparently she left him. So you know what? If she prefers that, that's what she can get. Because guess what? Now I got a new chick. That's right. I got a new chick. I'm dating a chick named Alyssa, and she is actually a magician. She performs downtown on the street, mostly by subway trains, which, I mean, you gotta work your way up, right? And listen, she can do a lot of things, all right? She can make rabbits disappear, all right? She can make those funny little colored, pieces of cloth come out her sleeves. And listen, she can do some other magic in some other places, if you know what I'm saying. But anyway, let's talk about Are You Afraid of the Dark? We talking about clowns for my backstory. This whole episode is about a clown. And no, I'm not talking about the main actor, because that mother effer cannot act. He cannot act for shit. But there's another clown, a main clown that becomes the villain of the show. Alright, which one I'm dressed like a clown too, you know what I'm saying? Got the red and yellow. I'm coordinated, guys. You guys should know this. But yeah, we're talking about Are You Afraid of the Dark? And none other than the infamous episode, I guess the fan favorite. I don't know if it's a fan favorite, but it's a fan popular one. And this episode is none other than, as I try to straighten my camera, is Laughing in the Dark. That's right. Yo, why is that window so bright still? That's crazy. If a face pops up there, I swear to God, I'm gonna shit bricks. Yeah, Laughing in the Dark. So Laughing in the Dark is one of the fan favorite episodes, I guess, quite popular. JonTron reviewed it, so I guess that kind of adds to its popularity. He reviewed, I think, the first 3 episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark, if I'm correct. And Laughing in the Dark is one of them. I think Laughing in the Dark is episode 2 of season 1, so this is one of the very first ones, which I think is why some people are more forgiving for it. For me, I don't know. I thought it was all right. And this one pretty much deals with clowns, amusement parks, the idea of clowns, haunting a kid. You have some ghost stuff in there, but it's mostly about clowns. And this episode really would be scary for people that are afraid of clowns, but I don't particularly have a fear of clowns. I mean, obviously, if a dude showed up in a clown costume at night in my house, I'm probably going to shit bricks, but that's mostly because some strangers in my house. It's not necessarily because he looks like a clown. Some people are terrified of him. I'm, I guess, scared of scary clowns. But as a kid, I went to a circus before, and I took pictures with clowns. My mom has the pictures, I think, still. And yeah, I liked them. I always thought they were funny. I always thought they were cool. People got a big phobia of them. The whole It movement with the killer clowns popping up around the United States as part of the marketing thing kind of built that up. And I think that's why this is more of a, I guess, as completionist, Goosebumps completionist mentioned to me in the Discord, a cerebral episode where this is building off of a phobia. If you're scared of clowns, this episode's going to be super scary for you. If you're not scared of clowns, this is going to be an average episode. And that's kind of how it falls for me. So without further ado, let's talk about what this episode is about and my thoughts regarding it. So first of all, Are You Afraid of the Dark is basically a competitor to Goosebumps. It is a show that was kind of like a knockoff of it, and it does an anthology-style stories. However, it's told by all the members of the Midnight Society. The Midnight Society are these group of kids that basically have this kind of storytelling club. They go in the woods, they make a campfire, and they start telling tales. They each take turns, and then, they throw the magic sand, the fire blows up, and you get the title card. So, in the season 1, as far as I think, in season 1 of Are You Afraid of the Dark, and especially in the very beginning episodes, these episodes have a really annoying factor to them that's not in the future seasons to come, thank God, which is the fact that the Midnight Society members actually interrupt at several points throughout the episode, which completely breaks up the flow of it and kind of makes it annoying because, to be fair, I'm okay with them appearing in the beginning, giving some setup. That's pretty nice, and then them coming at the end for a little bit of a reconnect. But interrupting in the middle of the story kind of breaks up the flow and makes it hard for me to take it seriously. That's more so a formatting thing in the very beginning, but it doesn't really help the episode story much, especially when you start getting hyped up and you start building up some, tension, and you're kind of wondering what's going to happen, and then these kids interject and it kind of takes you out of the story. So I'm going to try to keep that away from my rating, but it does play a factor, just a warning. So what's this episode about? This episode is about essentially these three kids who are going to this amusement park. And this amusement park, they have various different rides. You have the main kid whose name is Josh, and he's the main character here. I know he has two friends, a girl and a boy, but I don't remember their names. And at this amusement park, they're kind of testing each other, seeing what kind of rides they can go on without getting scared, who's the bravest, who's the most daring. And then they appear at this fun house, and this fun house, it has this giant, basically clown but this giant clown billboard cut out on there, and it's laughing, and the attraction is called Laughing in the Dark, which is hence the name of the episode. And you get to meet the guy who plays Dr. Vink, and Dr. Vink is the only reoccurring character, I think, in Are You Afraid of the Dark, not counting the Midnight Society. Midnight Society, of course, appear all the time, but Dr. Vink is the only, I guess, character that actually reappears in many different episodes. So Dr. Vink is back, but he's not playing Dr. Vink. It's just his main actor who's playing the guy who runs the Laughing in the Dark ride. So, the kids are kind of wondering if they want to go in there. They're kind of testing each other to see who's scared. The main character, Josh, is a big brat. This guy is a douche. He's always kind of like picking on his friends and trying to like tease them and test them. And he thinks he's like the hot shit. Turns out it's not the case, but he thinks it. And they're kind of getting ready to see who would go in there. And then, as Josh is very confident and kind of approaching the Laughing in the Dark ride, he ends up meeting the main guy who plays Dr. Vink, who's the running the ride, and he kind of puts down the story of what this whole ride is, about involving Zeebo the Clown. Zeebo the Clown is basically the main attraction of this Laughing in the Dark fun house. There's a story behind it. And, people say it's haunted. That's what the reputation is. This is a haunted place. Bad things can happen in there. You'll genuinely be scared. And it's haunted by the spirit of Zeebo, because Zeebo actually died at this property I think back in the 1930s or something, he died. And the story's not explained till later, but that's kind of the lore behind it. So Josh gets scared. He doesn't go in. The guy scares him. The whole kind of ride gives him an eerie vibe. And, they're taken out of it. The three friends head back to their house, and they start looking up the story of Zeebo the Clown and the Laughing in the Dark ride, in which they find out that the story is, I believe, that Zeebo the Clown worked at this ride back in the 1930s, and he was basically a clown performer at this fun house at this amusement park. He ended up stealing $4,000 from the payroll. That sounds like my homie Ezekiel down the block over there. He'd be finessing everybody, stealing all the time. That man is finna get caught one day. But this man, Zeebo the Clown, is the same kind of clown as Ezekiel. He's out here robbing payroll. And when he eventually got caught, he had to flee the scene, and he ran into the fun house. And, in which case, Zeebo was a fan of smoking cigars. He's always smoking cigars. And he accidentally threw it against the fun house as he was running in there. And it ended up catching the whole thing in fire. It went ablaze, and Zeebo basically burned alive and died in there. Very dark origin story. That is a positive I have towards this Are You Afraid of the Dark episode. Has a really good urban legend story and build-up involving the amusement park and the ride that's the main attraction. The kids are looking up on the newspapers kind of the story and piecing it together about the legends. And Zeebo the Clown, his original form actually looks very creepy. I have to give it to them. That's a very creepy design for a clown. The main weakness kind of starts pulling up here is that none of these kids can act, and that's kind of a big weakness with Are You Afraid of the Dark in the beginning, where there's a lot of terrible kid actors that don't know how to act. The girl in the story who's playing one of the third friends here, she's all right, but yo, man, the two boys, Josh and his friend, they cannot act, bro. When Josh's friend is talking about the Zeebo story with the news headlines, this man is reading it out as if your teacher called on you in class to do reading. You can't read for shit. So as you're reading, you're like, and the main girl went to the park and as soon as you start reading, all your homies in the back start giggling. You hear them giggling. You hear them laughing. And they finna clown you because your ass can't read. That's how this man is. He can't read. He can't act. And Josh is terrible too. Josh has to be probably one of the worst main characters in Are You Afraid of the Dark. This guy is such a douche. He's such a dickhead. And on top of that, he can't act. This dude's acting is cringy. He actually acts cringy. There's a later point in this episode where it involves, let's say, something involving the fridge, and this man doesn't know how to act. He doesn't know how to act scared. He doesn't know how to act intimidated. and that pops up here. He tries tickling the girl. He ends up getting his ass knocked out. She puts up a trash can lid. He runs into it and basically falls over. And then after they have this interaction, they head back to the amusement park. And this time, his friend dared Josh to go into the ride. And if he's not a baby, because he keeps taunting him, he keeps going like, oh, you guys are babies. You guys are scared. I'm a big, tough guy. They're like, all right, if you're so tough, go in there and get Zeebo's nose. Take it from the doll. There's a Zeebo doll at the end of the amusement park ride. At the end of the fun house, you grab his nose, you come back, and if you make it all the way, then you know what? The guy friend says, I'm going to wear it to school for the rest of the week. They do the deal. He goes in. And let's just say he may or may not be successful in getting the nose. He kind of sees some of the strange attractions in there. And then as he heads home, can you guess where this is going? That's right. The ride, the funhouse, was specifically labeled as haunted for a reason. And let's just say that Zeebo may be wanting a little bit more than cigars. He wants something back. And that's where the rest of the story goes. You have a few scary scenes, or I guess scary scenes involving some home invasion stuff. Again, some stalking stuff. If you're a guy who's afraid of clowns, this will probably hit way more home for you. But I felt like not really much happened with this episode. I enjoyed it for the most part, but even though there's parts that I like, I feel like they could have done way more with Zeebo the Clown and done more for him as a villain. I think he's a pretty sinister villain. I think his main design for what he looked like back in the day is creepy. I like the Zeebo the Clown doll. It looks real creepy as well. I like the laughing. I like the premise of the story involving what happened to the fun house and why it's haunted. And I like the amusement park setting. I've always been a fan of the amusement park setting. I just feel like this episode should have gone more in the Horrorland or kids horror amusement park direction trope, where most of the story takes place in the amusement park, because I feel like the weaker section goes when the kid goes back home, because we're stuck with Josh and Josh doesn't know how to act. You have these strange scenes involving chocolate pudding and some weird home invasion stuff that, yeah, it's creepy, but it's kind of goofily done. And there's some very goofy sound effects and stuff in this episode that kind of takes away from this creepiness that could be there. Yeah, I just feel like if they were in the amusement park, you experience more of the fun house, maybe some more of the rides. Maybe they uncover Zeebo's urban legend and mystery at the actual amusement park. And let's make, Dr. Vink's actor more of a big role in the story, because you don't know if he's directly tied to the Zeebo incident. You don't know what really he knows about the urban legend or what are his affiliations to the fun house opposed to just running it. Kind of reminds me of the Haunting Hour with the Funhouse, except that guy who ran the Funhouse was much more involved and much more charismatic and creepy than Dr. Vink's actor here, more involved. So I feel like that was a big missed opportunity. I feel like this episode could be a lot better if you went in the Horrorland direction, you actually go to the carnival, you experience it, you uncover the legend there, and you kind of discover it more like a Scooby-Doo fashion. Like you're solving the mystery at the actual scene of the crime, and then you're experiencing more creepy Zeebo stuff. And I feel like that would have made it stronger, because it's just the idea of them going to this amusement park, seeing this ride, or, this attraction. I keep saying ride, but it's, it's kind of like a ride, kind of like an attraction. Seeing this attraction, wimping out, going back home, finding it on some random newspaper clippings that they, for some reason, they have newspapers that have Zeebo's information on there, even though Zeebo freaking died back in 1930. Why do you have information like 60 years later in these newspapers? You collect these bitches? You're collecting this? You expect me to believe that your hockey and the garage ass is collecting these newspapers? Shut your ass up, you not. That is so hard to believe. That's so goofy. That's so hard to believe that these kids are collecting old newspapers. Stop that, bro. Stop. No, you're not, bro. No, you're not. You're not collecting newspapers 60, 70 years and somehow you find what is this Goosebumps completionist is like everyday missions and finding lost media. You have the internet archive available. You just find these newspaper clippings. These people think that they're Spongy 444 and completionist and Jude DeLuca. You are not, bro. Stop impersonating, bro. You don't have access to this information. Did they go to Fort Knox and rob these? Listen, I don't know. I don't know where they got these. I don't know if they stole them from the amusement park. Why the amusement park would still have news headlines like that 60 years later, I don't know. Maybe they went to the porta potty and stole it. I don't know. But that kind of takes you out of it. And then they go back to the amusement park. And then they go in, they steal the nose, and they have to go back to the... It's a lot of bouncing back and forth. I think seeing different sections of the amusement park would have been a lot stronger. Go the Horrorland route, make Zebo more of an intimidating villain. And there's a part at the ending where the kid goes back and does something to try to make amends with, the big villain in the story. And this kid, spoiler alert, it's not even that big of a spoiler, who cares? This kid brings him cigars. Where did you buy that? Who let you buy cigars? Are those your dad's cigars? Your dad be smoking cigars, bro? I hope he's smoking cigars, because if you expect me to believe that you walked into 7-Eleven, you pulled up in a mobile gas station, and they let you buy cigars, bro. Your ass is not smoking. You're not finna smoke out Zebo. We not smoking that Zebo pack. We smoking that Josh pack. But how did he buy the pack to begin with? There's some disbelief you gotta put in there. Him buying cigars is one of the stupidest things I've seen. Because unless he stole that from his dad, I don't know where he bought these. And I don't know where they got these newspaper headlines. I don't know where they're finding this. It makes so much better sense just to keep everything amusement park related. Because when you go back, all the weakest parts are at the house. There's a scene of a potential villain stepping in chocolate pudding, and their shoe print, their special shoe print with a special letter in there is there. That's like a big scene. There's a scene where a balloon pops through this little doorway and it has a message on there, and the message is sort of like a basic ass message. There could have been a lot more scares, a lot more creepy stuff going on, but it didn't end up happening. Also, I feel like it's a big weakness that the episode is called Laughing in the Dark, and you don't get a Laughing in the Dark sequence. What is that? The episode's called... Did you hear me? I sound like Zebo there for a second. That's all, folks. That's how I feel like, bro. Why is there not a Laughing in the Dark scene? Yo, at the house, have all the lights black out. Have my boy go in the basement and have Zebo pull up in the lemon pepper steppers with the exaggerated movement. Ooh. Like, bro, I gotta see Zebo pull up and hit them exaggerated steps down the basement, like, and then get my boy Josh. That's what's gotta happen. Why is there no Laughing in the Dark? What's scarier than laughing in the dark? Ain't nothing scarier than laughing in the dark. Let me tell you right now, if the lights were off, like said these, what the heck is that silhouette in my room? All right, if it's pure darkness like this, and you hear a laughing, if you hear if you're sleeping at night and you hear a, like, I have to turn the lights back on. That actually creeps me out. If I'm sleeping in my room and you hear laughter in the darkness, if you hear laughter in the corner of your room, you hear it under your bed, you hear it in the closet, I'm shitting bricks. I'm gonna move at the speed of a reverse flash out of that room. I'm gonna be out of there, and I'm gonna break the timeline paradox with how fast I'm hauling ass. That's gonna be me. So why not make that a scene in the episode? I feel like that would have been, sure, on the nose, but it would have been creepy. Have it in the fun house. Have it in the house, the actual house. And again, if you expanded the story, have it at some part at the amusement park. It would have been dope. Would have been real dope. But there are some benefits. If you're scared of clowns, you're going to find this scary. There's the mirror scene at the funhouse, which is pretty creepy, and the doll and design. It has the building blocks to be really great, but it just didn't hit that threshold for me. And that's how I feel about Laughing in the Dark. So Laughing in the Dark ends up getting a 7.2 out of 10. How do I feel about it? It's decent. Do I feel like you should watch it? Yeah, check it out. Especially if you have those specific phobias and fears, I think you'll really enjoy it. And if you're willing to give more forgiveness towards the very first episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark, before they got all that experience in show writing, feel free to do so. But since I'm so deep into watching Are You Afraid of the Dark, and now I'm seeing Laughing in the Dark, that kind of leads me to it being more disappointing. I feel like this is more so a case of, this was an iconic episode. JonTron reviewed it. It has popularity, so that lets people get blinded. But the reality is, it's mid. And that's all I have for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to try uploading more because it's Halloween. It's spooky month, and I got to upload more. I have some haunted mask ideas regarding dropping reviews this month. I have some other Halloween books that I feel like reading. And I'm actually reading my very first Fear Street book right now, which I'm probably going to make a review for in October as well. I don't know if the temperature, I don't know if the season in the book is October. I'm not sure about that, but it kind of feels like it, so I don't know. I'll probably include just because of my first Fear Street book, but I'm going to try to go for Halloween stories to talk about this month, and then I'm going to try to incorporate that for Halloween. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Hope you guys stay tuned. I'm going to be coming out with more content shortly, and thank you all for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed, and that's it for today. Deuces. Yo, man, I swear to God, bro, how could I get left by a clown? And he didn't even have the swag like Zebo. She left me for a goddamn clown. I mean, listen, she called me a clown plenty of times, and that didn't keep her sticking with me. Wait a minute. Does that mean I'm dating a girl who's a magician? She could just disappear out of my life? What am I doing? Wait, can she make the bill collector disappear? In which case, I'm putting a ring on that finger.